Welcome back, boys, girls, and cheesy minions of all ages. We have another battle here in the NGDL. And this one's against the Los Angeles Lucario, who is in the blue division. So this is my other out-of-conference match. You'll remember I had the first of mine last week. And after the three really great opponents to start the season, I actually started 2-1, which is actually pretty much about as best as I really could have hoped for with the first three opponents I had. Now I don't want to talk smack about my current opponent because he's a very good battler. In fact, he was a playoff contender last year. We were in the same division, as you might recall. In the last week of the season, he clinched his playoff berth against me. So he's definitely powerful. But coming down from those first three games against Quilliams, Mr. Chabry, and Visuali, I feel a little bit more confident going into this match than I did against those three. However, this is still a pretty important match for me, as much as a out-of-conference match can get, simply because the rest of my division is just doing extremely well, except for the San Diego Wild Chargers. Sorry, Zack Attack, but obviously Mr. Chabry, who I lost to in week 2. He's 3-0. He's the only undefeated team left in the league. So, I need to keep on pace with him. But as well as my week 1 opponent, who I did defeat, Quilliams23, has not lost since I've defeated him. So we are still actually tied in second place. Well, I have the tiebreaker, obviously, but still, if I lose this game and he wins, and suddenly I'm looking at third place in the division. So this is a really important game for him as well. As you can see, he actually started the season 1-2, and he's currently last in his division, so he really needs this win. So it's a pretty important matchup. I mean, obviously, it's a out-of-conference match, and both teams can recover if they lose, but it is definitely one you really want to win. So without further ado, I did make a transformation this week. You might recall one of the rule changes this season is that I do need to declare which forms I'm going to be using through a transformation, which is similar to a transaction, but it doesn't cost me any dead money. But I decided to give Charizard Y a whirl. Now, in the first 3 weeks of the season, I obviously went with Charizard X, and I feel like my draft is overall built around Charizard X rather than Charizard Y, but I did bring a little bit of Sun Tech with the Leafeon, which I want to bring this week, looking at his team. It actually is a little bit difficult to team build with the Charizard Y because I do have a lot of electric and rock weaknesses with Charizard Y. As you can see, I mean, I have 3 flying types in Swellow, Celesteela, and now Charizard Y. Obviously, Charizard X is a flying type before it Mega Evolves, but I can mitigate that a bit. And then, of course, you add a Araquanid to the mix, and it brings actually a lot of common weaknesses. I'm pretty weak with the team the way it is right now to Electric and Ice. So I have to be careful about that, and especially what I bring. But my opponent this week actually has a few things. Well, he has a little bit of reason for hope. So first thing you'll notice, I probably didn't really know this team that well before, but he did make a transaction this week. I was actually really down for the Char Y thing, but then I had a little bit of pause when he made his transaction for Snorlax. Now, Snorlax obviously has the thick fat ability, so it's a problem to Charizard either way, but it obviously has a much more special defense than it does physical defense. While I could use a physical Charizard Y, it can actually be pretty good in the sun. There's a few other things that I really want to hit on the special side, like that Manaphy and that Regirock with Solar Beam. Plus, Mega Charizard Y is not weak to Dragons, so I'm not so much afraid of the Latios. Straight up resist Sylveon. And also of note, it allows me to bring Chlorophyll Leafeon, which also has a pretty nice matchup, being able to hit most of his Pokemon super effectively. Going into this match, I'm actually kind of afraid of the Typhlosion and the Snorlax. I mean, obviously I'm afraid of Latios too to an extent. Lucario could give me a little bit of issues because of its priority, so I have to be careful around that. One thing going into this match that I do notice is that he only has 1 Pokemon that can set up Stealth Rocks, which is actually really nice for me because of how many Stealth Rock weak Pokemon I'm going to potentially be bringing this week, and that is the Regirock. So I decided actually not to bring Swellow yet again, which leaves my only defogger option to be the Charizard itself. But I feel like I might be able to get some nice predictions coming in on the Stealth Rocks like I did last week with my Mega Charizard X. So obviously Regirock is a dangerous Pokemon to try to switch in with Charizard Y, because if he does go for just the rock attacking move, I'm going to die. But I know that he's going to be eager to set up Stealth Rocks, and in addition, if that does happen, then that gives me pretty much a free switch in the Leafeon to set up. So I pretty much covered the bases. Now the Scarf on the Typhlosion could definitely be an issue, especially if I give it to him in the sun while he's at full health. So I'm going to want to get my own Stealth Rocks up a well with Crocodile. I'm also bringing Passimian just hit everything hard, actually, Passimian does. The Latios is probably the scariest thing. In fact, I'm not going to bring a coverage move. Maybe I will. I haven't decided between, like, Focus Blast, Will-O-Wisp, or Dragon Pulse on my Charizard Y. I'm still kind of, like, tinkering as of the time making this preview, so I should probably decide on it, stick on it, but you'll see probably which one I choose. The problem with bringing Dragon Pulse, of course, is Latios is going to outspeed my Charizard anyway. Even if I get Sticky Webs up, it has Levitate, so it's not like it's going to be slower, and yeah, so I don't know what my opportunity will be to get off the Dragon Pulse, especially considering he's probably going to carry Thunderbolt or some sort of super effect. Well, yeah, Thunderbolt, or maybe no, probably not Surf because of the Sun, but you never know. But yeah, Manaphy, I think Manaphy's probably going to come. I think he's definitely going to bring Regirock to be able to set up hazards because my team is so weak to them. But he has a lot of defoggers, so that's the other thing about him setting up hazards is he doesn't have a spinner. At least I don't think he has a spinner. So yeah, even if he does set up hazards on me, it'll force him into a situation that he might have to remove his own hazards to get rid of mine if he feels like they're going to hurt him. Sticky Webs aren't that important because he is a pretty slow team, but it would help definitely against that potentially scarfed Typhlosion. Interestingly, I am bringing an Autonomize Celesteela this week, and it's going to be actually physical. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Once it uses Autonomize, it unfortunately can't outspeed a timid max speed Typhlosion. It fails to outspeed that by 1 point, even if I go max speed. So I'm actually it does allow me to bring an adamant one though, just enough to outspeed Mega Latios. Of course, a Scarf Latios would be a real problematic thing for me as well because that'd be another Pokemon that I'd have a hard time outspeeding. But I know that I did actually give it the Occaberry, the Celesteela the Occaberry. So if he does come in with a Typhlosion, I can hit it away with Earthquake. If I have a +1, it's just dead. But I can at least live one fire move potentially. Depending, obviously, the Eruption is really powerful. But even if it's at full, I can actually live a Specs Eruption with the Occaberry. Not very well, but I can. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's all I'm really going to say about my team building. It's going to be an interesting match. Be interesting to see how he plays. Like I said, I think I have the advantage this week. But I have to make sure I can play around the weaknesses that I've given my own team and avoid being outplayed here. So let's go ahead and get into the match. I haven't played it yet, so hopefully I win. Go me! Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention while I kind of remember about it, adding to this pre-commentary. Big thanks to Ominous Acid for doing these draft board thingies for me. For doing it for the league, really. Your work is amazing, and I just wanted to make sure I credited you because I've been meaning to, but then I kept slipping my mind. So yeah, thanks for that. Alright, so here's the match. Nothing really that I wasn't expecting. I'm kind of glad he didn't bring Typhlosion. So yeah, obviously he could have, maybe abuse Eruptions in the Sun. But aside from that, really kind of standard stuff. I know that Regirock is his only Stealth Rocker, so I'm kind of anticipating him to be pretty eager with it, if not lead with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and lead with my Charizard. And this is Charizard Y this week. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and lead with Manaphy, and I was actually really afraid this turn that he was just going to go for Hidden Power of Rock and completely ruin me, but I know this is a speed tie if he doesn't have like the Scarf or something, so I'm just going to go for the Solar Beam. He is going to go ahead and stay in, and he ends up going for the U-turn, so that doesn't reveal that it is the Scarf. Thank God it doesn't have, or he didn't use Hidden Power of Rock this turn. Instead just going for the U-turn to get a more favorable Pokemon in, and that Pokemon will be his transaction this week, the Snorlax. And yeah, this thing's special defense and HP is pretty impenetrable, so yeah, Solar Beam is not going to be able to dent it that much. I'm just going to go ahead and switch in my Krookodile, and I kind of anticipate this thing to set up, so yeah, that's why I'm going in the Krookodile here to get the Intimidate. I do actually have Low Kick on this thing this week, specifically for Snorlax, and I am going to run a Scarf Krookodile. It does have Stealth Rocks in case I have the opportunity to set those up, but this is just going to function as a Scarf Krookodile for the most part. I'm just going to go for the Low Kick. And, yeah, some really nice damage there on the Snorlax. But he's going to reveal the Ayapa Appa Berry, I think that's how it's pronounced, and that's a berry is going to heal him 50%, so, and that allows him to get another curse. So now he's sitting pretty at +2 defense, and I'm like, okay, I'm still pretty confident that Low Kick can do more than half to this thing. I'm hoping that he can't kill my Krookodile at +1, but he actually surprises me here with the Recycle, but thankfully for me, he actually is not quite at 25%, so it doesn't trigger, which is huge for me, because that allows me to potentially just go for the Low Kick again. I know he's probably going to switch to want to save the Snorlax, but that is huge for me that that thing could not get that Ayapa Appa recovery that turn. and potentially do some damage to my Crocodile. So, yeah, he's going to go into Latios, which is good play, just because it's resistant to that fighting type attack. Going to go ahead and get the Mega Evolution to Mega Latios, and yeah, he's just going to go for a Calm Mind, which is a pretty good play as I go into my my Araquanid, and I really don't want to let this guy get free Calm Minds. I do have Bug Bite, which is super effective and stronger than Liquidation, just because yeah, it's super effective and Liquidation is resisted. So I'm just going to go for that. He ends up going for the second Calm Mind. I know that from Calcs that I should be able to do more than half with a Bug Bite, and as you can see, it does about half, which is actually surprising to me. This must be like a bold Mega Latios, which is good prep on his part, but I'm still pretty confident looking at Calcs I can do over half with a Leech Life. So I'm just going to go for it again, and as you can see, it's doing about half, and it's going to be doing enough that he's not going to be able to get free Calm Minds against me. In fact, he is just going to go for the Stored Power, but thanks for Araquanid's really great special bulk, even with a +4 Stored Power, I'm still able to take that. And unfortunately, though, this Latios gets the clutch survive with the Leech Life. I was super shocked. Because that was like a couple of HP. It looked like that was doing about half, if not more than half, with that Leech Life. But yeah, that thing survives, unfortunately, to take down my Araquanid. But yeah, I do have Scarf Crocodile to come back into now. Get the Pointless Intimidate. I'm just going to go for the knockoff. It's going to knock off something if he switches out. If not, it's just going to kill that thing, which is fine. But in comes Lucario, which obviously has that ability. What is that ability called? Justified, probably. So you could actually get some attack if I stay in here and go for the dark move. So I have to switch. I go into my Passimian here because I'm pretty confident that I can take a single hit. Plus, I kind of figure he's just going to go for a Sword Dance. I know I can take a Extreme Speed, but instead he goes for the Agility, which is actually really surprising to me and an interesting tech there. But I know that I can live a close combat or something, so I'm just going to go for a close combat of my own to take this thing out. But he's going to wisely switch into his Sylveon, which does have that resistance. And yeah, it does reveal the leftovers, so I know this is probably not, well, it's going to be probably a Cleric set. Just going to go into my Celesteela now, which obviously can scare him away with the Stab Steel move, but he is going to go for a Wish. And like I said, this is a autonomized Celesteela, but I don't want to give this guy a way to heal his Snorlax, which I know is sitting at really low HP. So I'm just going to go for the Earthquake. I calced it. It should be able to KO the Snorlax. I do have superpower on this thing specifically for Snorlax, but I know that Earthquake at this range should be able to take it out. I go for the Earthquake, and it does take out the Snorlax. Once again, I am adamant with max attack on this Celesteela, which of course triggers my Beast Boost to get even more attack. So, unfortunately, I'm not able to get the Autonomize. I'm thinking about going for it here, and I probably should have, because I know even if he has like the Z-Blaze kick, I can survive it due to my Aqua Berry, but he is going to activate a Z move here. I decided just to go for the Earthquake just to get rid of this thing. Just do it. He can't surprise me at all. So, yeah, he's going to go for a Continental Crush, which is interesting. So, he has, like, I guess the... What is this rock move does this guy have? Probably like Rock Slide or something. I don't know if he gets Stone Edge. But either way, I'm going to be able to tank that because it's not even stabbed. And just go for the Earthquake to take down Lucario. So, Celesteela in second game goes ahead and takes that thing out. And, yeah, Autonomized Celesteela is doing work even without the +2 speed. In comes his this thing, his Manaphy. I know it's a Scarf Manaphy. Surf is probably the strongest move he has against me. So I'm actually just gonna stay in and kind of take it because Celesteela is like a beast, and I'm just gonna hit it with the strongest thing I have, which is Superpower. 120 base attack. Unfortunately, it is not quite able to KO the Manaphy at +2. Manaphy is way too bulky, and he's gonna be able to take me down with Surf, which is fine though, because looking at the rest of his team, he has this Manaphy and he has two really slow Pokemon. So you know, I brought Leafeon for Chlorophyll, but you know, don't even need Chlorophyll. Just gonna go for a Swords Dance. I kind of figured he'd go into this Sylveon here, but at +2, I should be able to be doing really, really nice damage here with a Leaf Blade, so I'm just gonna go for it. Sylveon is obviously a lot slower than Leafeon. Leafeon actually has pretty good base speed on its own. It's 95 base speed, so it's really, really hard to outspeed in the Chlorophyll Sun. And he's gonna go for the Hyper Voice, which is gonna do a lot, granted, but not enough, as I'm going to be able to easily Twikio here with Leaf Blade. He can't really switch out because whatever he switches into would just die. So yeah, he's going to get let his Sylveon go down and take the safe switch into the Manaphy, which, you know, I'm fine. As long as he doesn't have Hidden Power Rock, he has really nothing to do to Charizard Y. Worst, he's probably just going to go for the Ice Beam and try to take down my Leafeon, giving me a pretty good safe switch here into my Charizard. And yeah, you get the Drought. He is going to go for the Ice Beam. It does less than half. Actually, it does quite a bit less than half. And yeah, my Charizard is still looking pretty. Just gonna go for that Solar Beam as he continues to spam Ice Beam, hoping for the freeze. He does not get it. And yeah, I'm just gonna go for that Solar Beam, which will be able to take down this Manaphy, leaving him to just 2 Pokemon. Actually, no, just 1 Pokemon, the Regirock, so this is pretty much my game. Just gonna go for the Solar Beam for damage. He's gonna live just because Regirock is so bulky, and he's probably invested in special defense. Take down my Charizard Y, but I know that I can pretty much KO it at my leisure with anything I really want. I decided to actually go into Leafeon here, because I want to show off my Ground EMC. Pretty much no other reason, and yeah, Leafeon another kill, because honestly, I don't know how many games I'm gonna really be bringing Charizard Y. So I have no idea how many times Leafeon is really going to have a chance to shine, so let's go get it and kill. And yeah, Grand DMZ is actually slightly stronger than Leaf Blade, so just going to go for that and take it out. So yeah, the Miami Dolphiones, 3-1. Unfortunately, for 1 Crash 94, his LA Lucario is going to get bounced to 1-3. I wish him luck on his way, and hopefully he'll be able to come up with the late season resurgence. But I'm pretty hyped to be 3-1. And in fact, this is a game that, yeah, well, obviously they're all important when your division is always stacked like mine seems to be. Still chasing the tail of the only undefeated team in the league in Mr. Chabries. Kentucky Typhlosions were also trying to stay ahead of the St. Louis Chingers, coached by Quilliam. So today's question of the day, though, is going to be, what is your favorite new Pokemon that's been revealed in Sword and Shield? The first being Wooloo, which is an all-type Pokemon that notably gets fluffy. The second one that's been revealed is Gossifleur, and its evolution, Eldegoss. They both get regenerators, so they should be pretty viable. We have here Drednaw, an interesting typing Pokemon, being a water-rock Pokemon with an interesting design. Corviknight, the steel flying Pokemon that may make us forget about Skarmory. We have to see what its stats are and stuff. But it looks pretty cool. I really like the design of this one. Next, we have an electric doggo named Yamper, which we don't know a whole lot about, except it has ball fetch, whatever that is. And quite possibly the most competitively interesting one, at the very least, Impidimp, which is a dark fairy type, which I was kind of looking forward to this type combination, which should be pretty interesting. We don't really know much about it other than its typing, but I really am glad they're going that route. As for me, I'm probably Team Corviknight all the way. I really like the design of this Pokemon. I really hope it's viable. I'm not a big fan of its 2 abilities, which is Pressure and a Nerve. Maybe it'll get a good hidden ability. Who knows? But if its stats are good and its move pool is good, it could easily be the offensive Skarmory we probably deserve and always wanted. So, yeah, it's definitely a Pokemon I'm going to be trying to use in my playthrough of the game. But anyway, I just went into today's question of the day. Instead, I'm going to reveal, just going to go through, 3-1, Miami Dolphiones. Next week, we got, I believe, division rival Zack Attack and his struggling San Diego, I almost said Charger Bugs, San Diego Wild Chargers. Hopefully, we can pick up the win there. But yeah, so things are starting to look up after that that Hydra in the beginning of the season. But we really do need our division rivals to start getting picked off by some of the competition and or defeat them ourselves. So hopefully the season will continue to go well. And thanks for watching, guys. Later.